Hello everyone and welcome to the Post-Mortem of Segatakai, where I'm going to take you through the development process of my first game. Segatakai, if you don't know, is a short horror game, horror adventure. It's a Slender-like. It's the first game that I've ever made. I made it together with my friend Daniel Francisco. We shared tasks. I did the programming, the sound and the music, and Daniel took care of the 3D. And we both built the game on the Unreal Development Kit, which if you don't know, it's Unreal 3. They call it Unreal Development Kit for the free version that everyone could download. And that's how I learned how to make games. Me and Daniel Francisco have wanted to make a game for a long time, and we looked at many other engines that supposedly don't require programming, which was true, but they also were very limited. So in 2012 I decided, okay, I have to learn programming. This is it. If I want to make a game, I need to learn programming. So while I was learning programming in Unreal Development Kit, I was reading a book, I was watching tutorials, I was looking at other people's codes, learning how they do stuff, experimenting, and me and Daniel had a project for experimenting. We shared by Dropbox. We could you would put the 3D models there and I would program stuff to use them, and slowly we started making something. And at this point Slender games were very popular, so we decided, okay, let's just make a quick Slender game. It's probably a project that a lot of people do as a first project while they are learning. It makes sense. It's a simple concept, not that much of a programmer headache, so we thought it was a good idea to do that. Unfortunately, when we released the game, the Slender craziness was dying, and that kind of hurt us a little bit, because a lot of people were expecting the game to not be a Slender game, and when Slender appeared they would get disappointed, which is something that honestly we never understood, because we were always upfront that Slenderman was in the game. Hell, even in the launcher, when you choose a difficulty you can pick, and it says Slenderman's aggressiveness, easy, normal, or hard. So we never tried to sell the game as something else. So I really don't understand how people were disappointed with that, but I digress. The game was more popular than we could expect. I remember releasing the game in June of 2013. I think the 10th, I'm not remembering correctly now, I should have checked before. I think the 10th. And I went to a Muse concert with a friend. And when I came back, there were already videos on YouTube about the game. It was crazy. It was one of the moments I felt the proudest in my life and accomplished. I already knew, but if I didn't, that was the moment when I knew that I wanted to make games. So that's how my game making adventure started, because it didn't really start there. I actually started with RPG Maker when I was like 12 years old, but that's a different thing. And we made Segatakai, and I am going to take you through the game design documents. I'm going to take you through the game. I'm going to explain to you what was going through our minds as we were doing it. Unfortunately, I wanted to make this more as a documentary, something a little bit more professional, but while we were making Segatakai, we never documented the progress. And we lost everything. I don't have the project for Segatakai anymore. Everything is gone. Lesson learned. I only had the backup in one hard drive, in an external hard drive, and it's poof, gone. I think the same thing happened to Daniel. So we both had the game, the source, in an external hard drive, and both of our hard drives went kaput. And there it goes. So we were actually talking about maybe we should add some stuff to the game, maybe change Slender to another creature to make it a little bit more interesting, but it's gone, so you can't do anything about it. That's it. So let's go to the first part of how we made Segatakai.
So yeah, here we have the game concept document. This, I actually tidied up for my portfolio, but this is actually something that I did at the beginning when we already had started working on the game, and I was reading about game design documents and stuff, and I read about the game concept document, and I thought it would be cool to, I don't know, just try it. And here it is. I'm not going to read it, honestly. I'm going to leave a link to it on the description if you want to read it. I think the game design document is more interesting. Just gonna like glance over here. So here, for example, Segatakai is partially procedurally generated. Every time you start a new game, wake up somewhere different. The notes will appear in different places, the keys will be scattered in different spots, and doors that were once locked might be unlocked this time, and vice versa. To get familiarized with House of 3, you must explore thoroughly and make mind notes of certain landmarks that may help you find your way when you restart the game and wake up in a completely different place. So this was the main thing about the game. That was the main thing we were trying to do, is that you have to, you know, like those old games where you have to draw the map by yourself. It was a little bit kind of like that, at least for me. That's how I thought about it, is that I wanted people to learn the map. I don't want the game to be easy. I don't want you to find map notes super quickly in a very small confined space. I wanted something labyrinthic and strange and weird, and every place is a little different, and eventually you will start connecting each place and build the map in your mind or by hand, however you want it. Maybe it was a little too much that, and some people didn't like that aspect of the game, but you cannot please everyone. You just can't please everyone. So here we have the target audience. The game should appeal to a more mature audience, horror fans, adventure fans, exploration fans, and YouTube content creators who specialize in short horror independent games, because of course that's where the money was, or and still is, right? This game is set for an M rating, 18+, so when we started designing this game, we had a lot of really effed up stuff thought up for it, but in the end, that it didn't get in the game. Maybe it's for the best. Yeah, and here we have the story. So one of the main differences between Segatakai and other similar games is that Segatakai has a focus on story. Even though it is kept to a minimum in-game to preserve the immersion and tension of the situation, the game is accompanied by a blog which serves as the diary of one of the main characters of the game, Laura Neal. The story follows a family of 3 that moves to Japan after a job promotion, only to find themselves far from civilization, where strange things are happening. This is true. Like, the game doesn't have any focus on the story. This is a little not true, let's say. But there is a story, there is a blog. I don't think anyone ever found the blog. It still exists. I think if I Google it right now, I will find it. So actually, let's test it. Huh, apparently I'm wrong. I Googled it and I couldn't find it. I wonder if it's been deleted because it was in a free blog service. That sucks. I think I still have that stuff. I should have checked this before, but, you know. Alright, let's look at the game design document. It's way more interesting. So here we go. It still has the old company name. We released this game under Negative Squared. But everyone was always reading -2, not Squared. And I thought that would be very confusing after a while. So I changed it to Indemonai, which just came into my head. I wanted a name that didn't exist, like something made up, so that if you Google it, it's easier to find. So that's where I went. So yeah, here we have the document overview. This is a game design document for Segatakai. The document is broken into major sections, revision history. So I started this in 2012, in December. First draft is created. We released the game in June, of 2013. So I started this document a little bit after we started working on the game. Yeah, we added more information about the game, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, we have a table of contents. I tried to make this as professional as I could. I did tidy it up a little bit when I was looking for a job, and I put it in my portfolio. But yeah, so we have the high concept. I'm not gonna read this whole thing again. I'm going to put a link in the description if you want to read it. Price and distribution is free. Yeah, we released it in Desura, but it was broken, and I couldn't fix it. And the people that run Desura took a long time to reply to me, and it didn't get fixed. Basically, We had some people complaining that it was broken in the Suda, but hey, actually right now, the same problem on itch.io. I'm actually going to fix it before I upload this video so that I can leave a link to itch.io for this game, but right now it's kind of broken because of the way that the launcher works. That was not the problem with the Suda, that was a different thing, but yeah. Marketing, here we go. The game will be marketed through two mediums. Online blog. The game will be preceded by an online blog, which will be posted to several forums and pages regarding horror games, Slenderman mythos. I think I posted it in one or two places. I actually don't remember. The blog will portray the background story of the game through the words of Laura. There's missing an off there. Oh, I have a link right there. The blog will appear to have been updated for a few years, roughly from 2010 to 2012, before the owner stopped writing suddenly for unknown reasons. From the beginning to the end, the blog posts will appear more and more twisted and weird, portraying the panic, fear, and bewilderment the character is feeling towards the happenings around her. The game opens up a few days after the blog ends, when the unknown, nameless main character, represented by the player, decides to enter and investigate the house numbered 03. So... okay. Well, here we go. This is the blog. It might sound... Oh, Jesus. Okay, it has ads and stuff. It might sound like the main character is Laura, but it's not. It's actually a different person that went to investigate the place. You see Laura in the game. Actually, Laura is the only character like that was modeled for the game. But I will show you that when we play the game, and I'll show you the endings. But yeah, the blog is here. I'm going to leave a link in the description if you want to check it out. Let's read a little bit from the beginning. Why am I writing this? This is like a fake date. I posted this in 2012. To be honest to you, reader, I have no idea. But in light of recent events in my life, I decided that I needed somewhere to just let flow whatever feelings resides in me. This is that spot. By now, a couple of questions might be flowing into your brain, and believe me, I have questions too. It all started back in California, where I lived with my husband and newborn child. We were as happy as a young couple could be, not a problem in the world, excluding dirty diapers and one or two screaming baby fits at night, the usual. Then it came, my husband's promotion. But to get the promotion, we would have to relocate to Japan. I couldn't complain. I've always been a fan of Asian culture. I didn't know it would be rural Japan though. I was expecting to move to a bigger city of some kind. We ended up in a very small village in Kanagawa Prefecture called Kiyokawa. This is an actual place. And we wanted to base the map a little bit on this place, but we ended up just doing whatever we wanted to do. The map was made out of tests, so there's actually not much logic to it. Where I am now writing this, and it wasn't even in that village, but in the outskirts, in a row of 5 houses, most of them with huge terrains filled with trees or vegetation, a couple of miles away from the main road. Including our own house, only 2 others were inhabited, and our neighbors weren't exactly welcoming. It felt like a ghost town. My dreams were shattered pretty quickly. But it didn't end here. My husband started acting very strange after a couple of weeks, and I was starting to think he might be having an affair with someone from his company. That idea soon dissipated, as his behavior started getting more and more strange. He had coughing fits, couldn't stop looking behind his shoulder. It was like something was bothering 24/7, but he wouldn't open up to me, and then he passed away. His body was found in his office. He hanged himself. Why? I couldn't imagine, and I did my best not to look much into it. I had a child to raise, and he needed me to be strong. Someone's at the door. So I think I'm just going to read that first entry. As you can see, like there is a story. We did something. We made a story for this. And as I'm playing the game, I'm actually going to explain to you like what the house is, what is the point of the house, and the history behind it. Because the story of the house was something that we're going to put in notes in the game, but we ended up not. Because, I don't know, because of reasons, I guess. But there will actually going to be notes about the house. So the house has a backstory, and the first time that is going to be explained will be in this video. So I will leave a link in the description to this blog if you want to read it. Let's go back to the game design document, shall we? Alright, here we have features, terrifying immersion. There's no HUD or in-game menus. The in-game menus was out of laziness. I am going to admit it here. It was just laziness because I didn't know how to do it on Unreal 3 at the time. I mean, I made this game while learning Unreal 3. And I didn't want to bother because I thought it's such a short game. There's no need for in-game menus, but I wish I did add them. Yeah. We've been through this. We have multiple endings. I will show you both. Here are the roles of both of us. So this is the research we did about Slenderman. We didn't do this game just like that. We actually did our homework. We got more information here. You can read this if you want. We have some developer notes. We should get more information about the doctor that is spoken of here and about the set Forrest Schwarzwald. Schwartz, I think I said that correctly. We could use that for the notes and for the map as well. So the notes, yeah. We could also grab the picture and use it as a painting hanging inside the house or something. We did. We could also maybe reference the mockumentaries that people have been doing on YouTube about Slenderman, like Marble Hornets, Tribe 12, etc. To bring all the mythology closer together. We wanted to do that, but we didn't. We ended up not doing it. So here are the characters, playable characters. You, this nameless character. So that is a clue. It's a nameless character. Like, it's a new character. It's not Laura. This nameless character ventures in the House of Sheep for unknown reasons. The reasons are always unknown. We don't even know, honestly. Just make it up for you. It's you. The character is you. After entering the gate and blacking out, the character wakes up in a random place inside the grounds. Who this character is and what's doing inside the house is unimportant. The mute and anonymous character is supposed to be an in-game representation of the player. The player is the character, so the player is free to decide the character's motives and characteristics. Yeah, just like I said. But here we have the tall man, Slender. And the non-playable characters. We have Laura Neal, happily married and mother of a healthy newborn son. She moves to Japan due to her husband's promotion to the outskirts of a small rural village, where her life starts turning upside down when the suicide of her recent paranoid husband. And then we have Jack Neal. Upon receiving job promotion, he relocates to Japan with his family. While working there, things start happening. He feels like he's being constantly watched, and paranoia takes over him, eventually leading to his demise. And then we have James Neal. Laura and James. Oh, this is a mistake. It's Laura and Jack's son. This sounds wrong. He's still a baby when his father commits suicide, so he was taken care of by his mother exclusively. When James is 6 years old, he starts talking to an apparently invisible man. When his mother asks him who he's talking to, he replies a tall man. Not long after, he's kidnapped from inside his own room. We have a camera. This picture is from... What is the picture from? It's from a procedurally generated horror game. Damn, I forgot the name. I'll put it on the screen because I forgot the name. Here we have passive events, which is something that we added on this version, on 1.12. Inside both structures on the map, there are several mannequins scattered around. When the game loads, an algorithm chooses a couple of mannequins at random and gives them special interactions. One of the mannequins shakes his head when the player inspects or looks at it from close by, and the other looks in the player's way when the player gets near. These actions in no way affect the game or the gameplay. They are just passive interactions to help create the ambience and overall tone of the game and the map to immerse the player. I really like this, and we did this as a test because we actually were planning to add more stuff like this. So random stuff happening in the house while we were walking around. But then other stuff got in the way and we ended up never updating it again. But yeah. Here we have the challenges. It's interesting that I didn't write here if they add or remove. Interesting. And we have the perfect run. The score increases with the number of notes owned by the player by the end of the game. And the challenges, of course. To achieve the highest score of 1,000, the player must achieve a perfect run, which is required by taking the following challenges in a single game. Happily Ever After, that's the good ending. The Blind Collector, that's not using your lantern at all during the game. The Blind Cripple, that's not running at all during the game. No Place to Hide is not hiding at all during the game. And Lost, you don't grab any notes for 10 minutes. So if you don't grab any notes for 10 minutes, Slenderman will start coming after you. So you have 10 minutes to grab the first one. So you can actually use those 10 minutes to explore, which is, I think it's cool. But yeah, you can achieve a perfect run if you do all that. I know the blind one is a pain, and even the run one a little bit, but especially the blind one. Just turn up your gamma. Just cheat. It's still possible to see, but you can only see a little bit in front of you, and you have to know the map very well if you want to do that. Maybe one day I will do it, and I'll make a video of it. Maybe I'll live stream it or something. I don't know. I mean, I've never done it. I don't even remember if there's a special ending screen if you achieve the perfect run. I have no idea. So that was so long ago that I don't remember. So we have the two endings. I'm not going to read that because I want to show you in the game. Here we go. The readable notes. This feature has been scrapped due to close that line. That's not really true. It's not really true. We thought, okay, we're doing a free game based on something that is kind of dying. Because Slenderman was already kind of dying at the time. We need to release this game as soon as possible. So we just scrapped this along with a lot of other stuff. But yeah, I have the notes here. So actually, let's read them. No one. He took my baby. Why am I here? I saw someone coming inside 03. Could it be him? I need to find out. So here I am. So this gives you clues. This is Laura. Laura left these notes. So she came here looking for her son. My cough has been worsening, lady. I need my baby. No one's in here. Why haven't I left yet? Could my baby's disappearance have anything to do with a 1623 case? Or 1623 case? I think that's written in the blog. You took my husband. You took my baby. He wants to take me. He won't. I can feel him in the shadows. It's the same feeling I've had the past few weeks at home and at work. Is he the one who took my baby? There's a man here. His face is gone. Always watching me. Always watching me. This is just always watching me. Or always watching me in Japanese. Here we have newspaper clip. Suicide in Kiyokawa. Yesterday, in a small community just outside of the small village of Kiyokawa, an American man committed suicide by hanging himself by the neck. Jack Neal's body was found by a work colleague in his own office after several failed attempts of contacting him by phone. Originally from California, Jack and his wife Laura and son James moved from California to the outskirts of Kiyokawa in 2007 due to a job promotion. As of now, we were unable to contact Miss Laura for more information. But according to his work colleagues, James had been behaving strangely for the past few months. He seemed paranoid 24/7 and acting like someone was constantly following him. He also appeared to be sick, and their colleagues spotted him coughing blood more than once. We end this article with our most heartfelt condolences to his friends and family. We have a second newspaper clip. This is after. Missing child. The small village of Kiyokawa has been the stage of yet another tragedy. James Neal, child of a recently defunct Jack Neal and the current Kiyokawa resident Laura Neal, disappeared on March 17th. His mother Laura claims she last saw him in his room after laying him down to sleep. There are no signs of violence in James' room, and whether James was kidnapped or ran away is currently unclear. More news when available. Jack Neal, more information. You may remember our article about James Neal, a small American child residing in the outskirts of Kiyokawa with his mother, who disappeared without traces on March 17th. His mother provided us with some additional information on her son's behavior pre-disappearance. He, James, was still very shocked with his dad's, Jack, suicide. He started talking to himself and stopped talking to any of his friends. The last few days before his disappearance, I caught him playing inside house number 3 of our street, a very old abandoned mansion. When asked about why he was speaking to himself, he told me he was just talking to his new friend, who he would only call the tall man. I didn't take too much thought into it because I thought he was just going through the normal phase of grieving his father. If you have any information concerning James Neal, please contact your local police department. Aha, so here is the actual document. I think in the blog she writes about the document, but here is the actual document that was supposed to be in the game. So April 10th, 1623, 8 children kidnapped, Watanabe Takezo's death. In the outskirts of Kiyokawa, there is a small community of people living in a row of houses which has been struck with tragedy. 8 of the locals' children have disappeared without a trace a few weeks ago. No bodies were found, and the only clue the local officers have is that the children started talking about a tall man who would come play with them in the children's park near house number 03. Amidst a small community in said house number 03 lived the very well-known Watanabe Takezo, a very rich nobleman who helped various Kanagawa locations in times of need. A few days after the disappearance of the children, Watanabe also vanished from his mansion, only to be found dead in the children's park by a neighbor a couple of days later. His body showed various types of wounds, including surgical knife cuts, later sutured, and chest impalation. The police has found no clues but are still searching. Kanagawa Prefecture lost a very noble man. May his soul rest in peace. So here it goes a little bit more into the backstory of the house and the owner, Watanabe Takezo. So here we have more information about him. Watanabe Takezo, a very well-known noble and wealthy man who lived in the outskirts of Kiyokawa, had his hand in many projects throughout Kanagawa Prefecture, who helped our community continue to grow and evolve. The exact nature of Watanabe's fortune is unknown, but his majestic house, house number 03 of the small community was part of, has been the target of many attempted burglaries, none of which were successful. Watanabe's mansion had the most up-to-date security systems, which included, at the time, many handmade deadly traps scattered around the house. Whether or not these traps remain active today is uncertain, and no one is brave or dumb enough to try and see what exactly is or was hidden in the mansion. It's speculated that Watanabe had a vault with all of his fortune inside. Others say he had tons of gold in a safe room, and well, the speculation goes on and on to more weird territory, including that Watanabe was a practicer of alchemy, although his interest in the subject was known. So this explains the traps of the house and the crazy labyrinthic characteristics of the house, because he was paranoid about his fortune, so he made literally turning his house into a trap. So that's why you see all that stuff is not random. That stuff is there because we wrote this and we built the map according to this. So if you thought it was random, if you played the game before and you thought it was random, it's not. There you go. Now you know why. Okay, here we have some more detailed backstory. This is all explained through the blog, but if you want to read it, like if you can see, there's a lot of story. Yeah, if you want to go through it, go right ahead. Alright, and finally, we have the credits. If you want to check it out, it's the exact same credits that you see in the credit sequence in the game. Some description of the game over screen. Here's the game world. There's a description of the game world. There's a stupid map that I made on Paint, I believe. Yeah. I think we actually started making the structure before this map existed. I think when we decided we wanted to have an outside area, we just made this quickly just to have an idea where to put stuff. Here's some research images, like this is the lake. We based ourselves in this. This is one of the landmarks. There's a big rock. It was based on this. Of course our rock is a lot bigger, but there's also a big tree. And this is the Path of Leaves. Here's art and sound. There's the game icon, the logo, splash screen. Oh yeah, here's the old layout of the launcher. I think we released with this. Our first release was like this. This one looks so much better. Alright, and finally there's some description of the sound and music if you want to read that. Alright, that's 47 pages. That's a design document. It's a game design document. So yeah, from here we're just going to jump into the game. And I'm going to finish it first with a bad ending. And then I'm just going to play it without recording and show you the good ending. And that will be it for this video. So let's go explore house number 03.